Hey guys, a few weeks ago I posted my fan animation of Gojo vs Hanami, and today I want to take you behind the scenes, show you how this animation came together and why it ended up taking so long. I will break this project into different stages to make it a bit more easier to follow, and I will start with the concept first. I started this project in around October 2023 when episode 9 of season 2 released, and I really liked the subway setting and also how Gojo was dodging Hanami's attack, and that was actually the reason why I chose this fight. My last big project, the Attack on Titan fan animation, I didn't do any animation because my friend Josh helped me with the motion capture suit. And for this project I wanted to work on my animation skills and also show the faces, unlike in my AOT video. With that said, I started with a rough cut using clips from the show to map out the sequence, and after this I started creating the characters. And I used base meshes for that. Sculpting Gojo's face was not easy because I really wanted to get him look right and make him as accurate as possible, but oftentimes something would just stick out, so it took me at least 15 versions until I was satisfied, and yeah, you guys also gave me some great feedback, so yeah, he turned out much better than I expected. Hanami, on the other hand, was a lot easier. I just had to adjust the proportions of the base mesh and sculpt the head. I also added the black marks and the rose on the shoulder. For the outfits, I used Marvelous Designer. Hanami's outfit was, it was just the pants, so it was pretty easy. But Gojo's jacket turned out to be pretty difficult. I just couldn't get it look right. Again, it took me a few runs until I was satisfied with the result. In the final step, I used Substance Painter to create the textures and to improve the molds even more. Next up comes the environment, and this was actually one of the most important things that I had to do. And since this fight happens in one of Tokyo's subway lines, I was able to use Google Maps to explore the real-life location. I took some reference images that helped me with the modeling. And eventually I had a whole subway platform, which I then just duplicated to make the environment bigger. And by December 2023 I had all the models ready and started animating, which was by far the most time-consuming part. But before animating I started with a rough 3D storyboard, which helped me visualize the whole video. I basically just posed the characters and created like a block-out version of the whole animation, and based on this I was looking for references. Sometimes I also recorded myself doing some moves, and the references definitely helped me with the animation. They looked really rough in the beginning because I struggled with the timing and poses, but my friends helped me with feedback and I was able to improve the animation. If you guys are interested in more behind the scenes content, you can check out my Patreon. On Patreon I talk about my workflows, create tutorials, and also update you guys with the projects that I'm working on. So if you're interested, just check it out, or if you just want to support me, I appreciate it. Okay, so back to the animation process. The fight choreography was one of the key aspects for me because I didn't want to just recreate the scenes from the show, but instead I wanted to bring my own ideas to the fight, and a big part of this was having the characters use the environment. In shots like these where Gojo is standing next to Hanami or he's sitting at the bench, I wanted to show their personalities. After animating for a few months straight, I asked my friend Josh to help me with some of the animations.
Alright, so I have to do mocap for the boy xSense. We have like 4 shots, I think, that I have to do for him. Coco, sponsor this man. He kind of does like a little vroom, vroom.
With all the animations ready, I started polishing the animation. In this final step I was fixing the timing and poses, and after this I was pretty much done with the animation. I thought finishing the animation would mean I'm almost done with the project, but then I realized I had to do simulations, and simulations were probably the hardest part for me because I had to do cloth sims for 2 characters. I had to do a bunch of destruction simulations, Gojo's hair, and then his blindfold was also simulated for 2 shots. It was a lot to handle, so I was thinking of a way to maybe speed up the process And thanks to Chester, who introduced me to this new software called Houdini, I started learning it. And with Houdini, I was able to build a setup for cloth simulations where I just had to swap out the animation file. And the same thing was possible for destruction simulations, but since I was a beginner, I struggled a lot creating those systems. So I asked my friend T-Frog if he could help me with the destruction simulations. And he even created a whole new destruction system for the final part of the video. And yeah, after 2 months of trial and error in Houdini, I started getting some decent results, and now I just had to import my simulations into Blender. By that point, almost a year had passed, and I still didn't have a single shot fully rendered, so I decided to set a deadline and reorganize my workflow. I spent the next few months preparing the shots during the day and let my PC render overnight. But this didn't really work out because my PC was crashing immediately and I had a lot of memory issues, blue screens, weird glitches in the final renders. So I had to lower texture sizes a lot and also delete some things to avoid crashes. My workflow seemed to go well, but then I came to this part of the project. This alone was a whole project by itself because of all the things that still needed to be done. For example, the clothes, the ground destruction, and also fluid simulation, which was something that I hadn't touched in years. It was really a pain to get through this. I redid Gojo's animation, created the root animation, and figured out how to make them react to Gojo's animation. I needed to figure out how to do the wall destruction, but yeah, thanks to T-Frog's Houdini setup, I was able to get pretty close to the anime scene. The fluid simulation was really stressful. I will just skip this. And yeah, Gojo's face, that was quite interesting because Gojo's face looked good when he was just looking straight, but when I started to animate him, he kind of looked weird. So I'm not really satisfied with this shot, but I didn't want to spend too much time on this project, so I just kept going. After a lot of fine-tuning, I was finally ready to hit render one last time and move on to compositing and sound design. Compositing was actually pretty relaxing compared to everything else. I tried to create a dark and cinematic vibe, and I also added some effects to make the shots more interesting. Then came the sound design, which was also very fun to do. I added some voice lines that I found from the game, and I also added some sound effects to match the animation and movement. And in the end, the whole project was done after 15 months. And before I come to the end of this video, I wanted to thank all my friends for all the feedback, Bryce, Zenbone, T-Frog, Josh. I can't name them all, but thank you to everyone. I also wanted to thank you guys for all the patience you have with me. I hope you liked the final video, and make sure to check out my Patreon for more behind the scenes content. And with that said, enjoy the final video.
なんで通れないの？
Gojo って誰だよ。
知らねえよ。
そこの雑草会うのは3度目だな。舐めたまでしやがって。
私に勝てるとでも？
まずはお前から殺す。
過信しました。行きましょう。はあ。
遅いよ。もらった。ほら。
なんて攻撃。
怖い？こっちこっち。ボコボコにしてやる。
凄まじい集中。大したものです。
先生がいなかったら俺今頃死刑だったみたいよ。そんで
一応恩人です。一応。
ただこれだけは言えるわ。
言うまでもなく
最強。
肩慣らしは十分だ。もう終わりだっつの。
私はまだ負けていない。貫かれるがいい。
ここだな。ほら、舐められたもんだな。勝てると思ってんの？
まずい。
ここ弱いんだって。 これで終わり